First, he's a professor of finance at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business and seen as a crusader against crony capitalism. Luigi Zingales joins me now. Luigi, welcome to Economic Edge. It's wonderful to have you here, actually in this country, coming off a very successful lecture at the London School of Economics last night. And Luigi, I want to start with that because you spoke about your book, A Capitalism for the People, that's just being published. And can you talk us through why you think the United States may well be in danger of repeating some of the worst mistakes that you found in your home country of Italy?
I think that there is not a very good understanding of the difference between being pro-market and being pro-business. Businessmen want free markets when they get into a market. Once they are in, they don't want a free market anymore. They want to put sort of restrictions and barriers to entry. And this is logical in their interest, but if the government helps them in that process, that policy is not pro-market, it's pro-business. And I think that if we don't understand this difference, we are likely to fall into a form of chronic capitalism.
And in fact, Luigi, in your book, you do mention a lot of the Occupy protesters. And when you read the kind of anger that you see out there, because that's not just in the United States, it's also here in Europe, then, what do you think in terms of what that really symbolizes in terms of where economic policy needs to head?
So I think this protest is a natural reaction to a situation that is bringing less economic growth, less well-being, and the perception of unfairness. People revolt not only because they feel or they are poor, but also is because they feel cheated, they feel that the rules of the game are not equal for everybody, and in the process they tend to reject the entire system. And so my crusade is actually a crusade to save the free market, but at the same time stigmatizing and eliminating what is bad of chronic capitalism. And so part of what I'm trying to do in this book is trying to channel this revolt to a good end rather than a bad end. Naturally, sort of populist revolts tend to be anti-free markets and tend to lead to economic destruction. And I'm trying to appeal to a good American populist tradition of making the market fairer.
You are a real scholar of the financial sector and the financial system. What do you think in terms of the reforms that are needed, both in America but also here in Europe, where obviously banking reform is very much at the top of the agenda at the moment? Where do you think what needs to be done for the system to be both fair and perhaps even safer?
I think that the first thing that should be done is to try to recreate the proper incentives for the banking system to work properly and not take excessive risk. And most people see the problem as shareholders or managers have an incentive to gamble. I see the problem as creditors of banks lend to banks too cheaply because they know that the banks are always insured. During the 2008 crisis, I was talking with the CFO of an Italian company, and I was asking, where do you park your liquidity? And his answer was, I'm going to park in the largest bank of each country because I know that those banks will not fail. And what is the consequence? Unfortunately, I have to say, he was absolutely right. I couldn't disagree with him, but I felt bad because this is the end of credit analysis and the beginning of political analysis. Is you don't need to know whether the bank is solid, you just need to know whether it's well politically connected.
In terms of the Eurozone banks right now, what is your read of their situation?
So I think that we need to have some form of European deposit insurance. We cannot be in a common currency area without having a common deposit insurance. However, again, this deposit insurance should not be a bailout, should be a procedure to take over banks when they are sort of unsafe or when they are overexposed. And so it should be approved at the same time as which a resolution mechanism for banks should be approved. And we cannot do the one without the other because otherwise we're back to square one. We're back transferring taxpayers' money to banks, and this generates bad economic incentives and bad political incentives because people are angry, and legitimately so, when you see that there is no money to pay public employees, but there is always money to save banks. They get angry, and I think rightly so.
Well, we started this conversation talking about politics. Is the politics, do you think, in Europe possible to have a banking union along those lines that you described anytime soon, you think?
I don't know. I'm not really a political expert. I find it difficult to understand.
You sound like one to me.
I think is really needed whether they will come together and make the step. I think that my approach is more feasible. Everybody blames Germany for being too tough. I think that by and large, Germany is right in making it clear that cannot pay everybody forever. And this creates a situation of dependency, which is not good for the other countries either. So I think that demanding changes in exchange for help, I think is very wise. If there was like a longer term perspective, would be better.
Oh, Luigi, great point. We're going to talk a lot more and get more analysis from Luigi Zingale.